Now, there's also the question of if Clinton's own doing, if this is her own doing, if that doesn't sink her campaign, and she actually, God forbid, wins the White House, what happens the day after, on November 9th? Now, sources say the FBI review of hundreds of thousands of new emails will not be done before voters, before you head to the polls, now in 8 days. And the Washington Post is reporting that the FBI's agents, well, they wanted to investigate pay-to-play allegations at the Clinton Foundation, but that attempt was shut down by the Department of Justice. By the way, the same Department of Justice that we learned through WikiLeaks was colluding with the Clinton campaign, just like the State Department was, just like the White House was, and of course the liberal mainstream media. So think about the magnitude of all of this for a second. Hillary Clinton could be sworn into office while still being under investigation from the FBI, which would then put this country into a major constitutional crisis. Now, Clinton says Donald Trump, oh, he's not fit to serve in the Oval Office. But she, and she alone, has created a situation that could do severe damage to this country and the office of the presidency and prevent this country from solving problems. That means getting Americans back to work, fixing our broken educational system, fixing a broken health care system, fixing porous borders, vetting refugees. All of this needs to be done. Balancing a budget, stop robbing our kids. Here with reaction, Donald Trump's campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway. Kellyanne, the reason I felt it was necessary to take the time to lay this out is I'm watching the media all day. They are not telling the American people the story as it needs to be told, in her own words, the facts, related to this case. What's your reaction?
There's no question, Sean, and thank you for laying it out. You took all my talking points, by the way, but I appreciate it. Look, they're not telling the story because this story is about one woman and a pattern of conduct her entire career, which leads us to two words: Hillary first. Donald Trump's message is America first. Hers has always been Hillary first, whether it was representing a rapist in the 1970s of a 12-year-old victim and then laughing about the technique she used to get him his plea bargain the year before, whether it's her just clearing the field here in New York because she felt like becoming a United States Senator, whether it's her deciding against everybody's better judgment and the law to have her homebrewed private server, then to hide emails on it, to delete the emails, to bleach bit the emails, to lying about the emails. And now we have here Hillary Clinton does what she always does. She attacks the messenger. They're going right after Jim Comey. This story exists because of Hillary Clinton, and I'll add on because of Anthony Weiner, two very selfish people who put their peevish political personal interests before the safety and security of the nation and have us in this conversation and this mess. And I just have a message for all the never-Trumpers. I have a message for all the undecided voters, all the independents tonight. If you truly want to break with the past, and more specifically, the cloud of corruption that is Hillary Clinton, you can't vote for her. You simply can't. I respect your ability to vote how you want, but please don't pretend that you want to make change, you want to break with the status quo, you want to move the country in a real and different direction, as 76% of Americans do, and actually vote for Hillary Clinton. The other thing, Sean, that's going on is I would imagine every focus group facility from Boulder, Colorado to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania has been booked solid for this next week, because just last week, the mainstream media was telling the Clintons, you won. It's over. He has no path. His path is narrow. His path is non-existent. Trump is finished. Landslide election for Hillary. Last week, they're ordering up their inaugural ball gowns. And this week, the Clinton campaign is in the worst communications crisis probably of the last few months.
Kellyanne, let me put up on the screen, because a big part of this also we have learned so much from WikiLeaks. For example, I'm putting up on the screen now how the WikiLeaks revelations are very specific to the Clinton server. After the discovery of the private server, the campaign suggested creating a decoy. We learned that today. The campaign press secretaries said State did a nice job with this after the release of the Benghazi emails. The co-chair of the transition team, the private email server, was blanking insane. An aide wrote, there's no good answer to the server scandal. Podesta called Clinton's email scandal a hot mess. Podesta's daughter thought that Clinton, wipe it with a cloth comment was scary. Of course it was, because it was bleach bit and it was acid washed. The president knew about this, and he lied to the American people. I'm only giving a small part of it. Then we've got to look at, and we'll keep these up on the side of the screen, then we've got to look at, all right, Well, look at the Uranium One deal now, and look at how a list was separated, Clinton supporters and friends of Bill's and foundation donors, so they could benefit from the rebuilding of Haiti, make money, and funnel it back to the Clintons. Or the Uranium One deal that literally handed our uranium over to Vladimir Putin because of the involvement of the Clintons and the $31+ million they got to the foundation. And that would go also to, you know, the Moroccan deal, pay to play. Do you think this server was set up for their own money? That's my question.
Yes. Yes, perhaps. But look, people need to care about it for two reasons. People may be listening to me right now and saying, that all sounds great and convoluted and very confusing, but why should I care as a voter? You should care for two big reasons. Number one, you would be electing a serial liar who has been gifting and grifting most of her adult life and who used your tax dollars and your State Department as a concierge for foreign donations. Number two, you would be electing someone who puts herself and her own personal interest before your own, and we already have evidence of that. You know, Sean, I think we've been asking the right questions about the wrong candidate for months. I think when people have been talking about unfit, unqualified, bad temperament, poor judgment, they've really been talking about Hillary Clinton.
Let me ask you a last
all
question.
signs point to that, and I don't think she's fit to be president. Look, you know, the polls were already closing last week. They were tightening last week before all this happened. In the ABC poll, we've gone from -12 to -1, and you've got 35% of the likely voters in the ABC News Washington Post poll saying they'll be less likely to vote for Hillary Clinton because of these revelations. You have Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump in a tie on the attribute who cares more about people like you. That's something that Barack Obama beat Mitt Romney 82 to 10, 82 to 15. So we like the trend lines, and I think this really hurts her among those independent and undecided voters who are quite decisive about how little they trust her.
How do you get to 270? Let's assume for a minute, and I've seen early voting numbers. I've seen absentee ballots in Florida, North Carolina, Ohio. They look good for Donald Trump, especially because Republicans tend to vote day of. He will win Iowa, I believe. Then we could move out west. I think he takes Arizona. It was tough a little bit, but he seems to have recovered very nicely there. Then he has to also win Nevada. And if he gets all of those states and the states that Romney won, he's still 5 electoral votes short. Is it New Hampshire? Is it New Mexico? Is it Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan? Which other state can he win, in your opinion?
Well, you can tell where we're going by where he's going. In other words, he was in New Mexico yesterday. He was in Michigan today. He'll be in Wisconsin tomorrow. Governor Pence will be in Michigan, back in New Mexico, in Colorado. Also, Pennsylvania has always looked very promising for us, and I know it's always been a dream for Republicans, but the Trump message of renegotiating bad trade deals and creating 25 million jobs over 10 years, energy investments and unleashing energy in Pennsylvania, and certainly repealing and replacing Obamacare in a state like Pennsylvania, Sean, where the average premium increases are 53%. He was in Arizona 2 days ago, 116% increases. I mean, you can't argue with the facts. And by the way, I didn't say Jim Comey's name once. These are the issues that Donald Trump has been talking about all along. Yeah, this has nothing to do with the FBI investigation. So our path is, as you said, if we're 5 short, you could do 4 in New Hampshire and 1 in Maine's 2nd Congressional District, where they split them up, or Wisconsin, or Michigan, or Pennsylvania, or Colorado. So we have a lot of insurance policies in there.
By the way, I got to give you a lot of credit because you deal with the inane idiocy and ignorance on like 7 Sunday shows yesterday, and my heart went out to you as you had to suffer through. Obviously, many of the networks we now know colluding with the Clinton campaign. I'll deal with that on November 9th. Kellyanne, good to see you.
I have to tell you, it's a pleasure to do it for Donald J. Trump and Mike Pence, so I'll do it every time. Thank you.
All right. It's great to see you as always. Thank you.